We'll now be going back to Jack Aernecke, who will continue the interview regarding the Capital Region real estate market.
You know, there were some very interesting points there and a lot of different options as far as mortgages go. Obviously, you're working with a banker or someone in the finance industry, credit union, dealing with stuff like this. But really, as the realtor, how familiar do you have to be with some of these things, like, zero down?
You have to be very familiar, because a lot of times buyers come to us and think they can buy a house, and they can't. And I always tell people about Jeff Miller at Sunmark. He's going to tell you probably within 24 to 48 hours if he can do this loan. So many other banks in the Capital Region. I work with a lot of banks, as I said. There's some excellent people in the area who do mortgages. But the one thing I've liked about Sunmark is they tell me 24 to 48 hours into the process, yes, we can do this loan. Some banks, 3-4 weeks, a month, and then they say, sorry, we can't do this loan, and we just wasted a month. The seller took the house off the market. So it's very important. I recommend Sunmark highly.
Okay. But it's still the buyer's choice.
It's the buyer's choice, but 7 out of 10 times the buyers will listen to us and go with a reputable bank. The case I had with Jeff, where they were, he was with another bank, I won't say the name, the bank declined the loan because of the appraisal value, and Sunmark was able to save the mortgage, and it's closing a week earlier than it was going to.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, it is.
You talked about appraisal value.
Yes.
A lot of people bought houses between 2006 and 2008. They might have paid what some might argue to be a premium, or too much, or something like that. And then we had our financial difficulties for a few years. Are any of them able to make money in the current market conditions?
Depending on the area, I'm going to say Latham, Loudonville, Colony, Niskayuna, still strong areas. If you bought a condo or a townhouse, I'll tell you a quick story. I had a lady in Niskayuna was having a terrible time. She was with 3 other realtors. I actually ended up purchasing her townhouse that she paid $290 for $220,000. She just had to get out, and I was able to resell it. It took me a few months. I didn't make a substantial amount of money, but townhouses and condos are the most difficult to resell in terms of when that market corrects or changes, like it did in between 2007 and 2010. People who own townhouses and condos lost the most amount of money. If you own a single-family property, I think you're safe, unless you put a $250,000 in-ground pool in, or finish the basement, with spending $80,000. If you maintain the property and did the right improvements, you will be safe in this area.
Okay, and it strikes me interesting that you can take the biggest risk or biggest hit with a condo or a townhouse, because with the aging population, there's so many more people getting to my age who want to move into that.
But it's always been like that. The townhouses and condos in this area. I have a townhouse right now in East Greenbush on 15 Rock Rose Drive, and she was with 5 other realtors. I'm negotiating an offer right now. She paid $260. We're down to $220. Wow. So sometimes you always need to consult a realtor, because we're going to tell you that about resale. Whenever I sell somebody a townhouse, I let them know, don't expect a ton of appreciation. It's just not how it works.
I'm looking to sell a home. Where should I spend my money to make it most saleable?
My opinion is the kitchen, the master bedroom, and any type of curb appeal. You can spend $50 on improving a front door, and when that person walks up to the house, they're going to walk in and see, hey, this has been maintained. If the front door is all marked up and scuffed up, unfortunately, they may think that the rest of the house is like that.
And I found it interesting you didn't say bathroom.
Well, when I say master bedroom, I mean bathroom too. That includes the bathrooms are important, definitely. But the kitchen, master bedroom, and bathrooms are very important.
So that's where, if you're looking to sell, concentrate on making those look the best you possibly can.
Absolutely.
Do you need a home stager?
I do not see a huge market for home staging in this area. You watch $1 Million Listing in New York City, they have stagers come in for $15,000, $20,000. This is not that type of area.
No.
And I get approached by stagers all the time. I respect what they do, and I do think it helps. I think if you have some extra furniture, that can help, but to spend $2,000 or $3,000 on staging a property, I don't necessarily think you're going to get the money back.
But you hear on programs like that there's too much clutter here, you got to keep it simple, blah blah blah.
Less
blah, blah,
is
blah.
better.
Do you advise people on how to make the house look?
I do. I always go through a house with people, especially senior citizens.
Who've collected
a ton of stuff, and there's a polite way to tell people that we need to change some things in your house in order to get you the maximum value of what you want. So, yes, I do give people advice on that.
As a realtor, are you able to represent both a buyer and a seller in the same transaction?
Yes, you can. You owe the seller confidentiality and loyalty, and the buyer fair and honest business dealing. And as long as you disclose to both parties involved, there's usually nothing to worry about.
Is that an anomaly or fairly normal?
Fairly normal. I sell about 50% of my own listings, so yes. And I find that sometimes when you do represent the buyer and seller, it's easy to manage everything going through. There's one less person you have to deal with.
Yeah, I would imagine that
Yes.
that is indeed the case. We were talking with Jeff. You were talking with Jeff a little while ago about mortgage rates and different payment options and so on and so forth. I'm just curious about foreclosures and short sales in this market.
There's not a lot of short sale. There's not a lot of foreclosures in this area. There are short sales. I have a short sale specialist. Her name is Carol Drew. She's exceptional. She gets about 95% of the short sales approved. If you're thinking of doing a short sale, you can call Carol Drew directly at 421-8071. We do take an upfront fee to facilitate all the paperwork, and it does take anywhere from 3 to 6 months. But we are usually able to get short sales approved.
Yeah, I was wondering if the timeline is significantly longer.
It does take longer than a normal transaction.
And what about foreclosures? Much of that around here?
I don't really handle too many foreclosures. There's not many in the area. I think they tend to be with properties I'm not always associated with.
Okay.
So
we're in the middle of summer right now as of this recording. Is that the best time to sell a house?
I think summer's a great time. The only thing sometimes with summer is you run into people on vacation, so you get little weeks where it's very slow. Houses show better in the summer, but I also think it's good to buy in the winter, because if you're buying a house in the winter, you get to see it at its worst, which means if there's a backyard full of trees in the summer, it may look very different in the winter, and you may see that highway that you're unaware of. So I think buying 12 months a year, or I think buying throughout the year is obviously smart in the capital region, but buying in the winter, you can see everything.
And what about actually selling?
They do sell. They do sell in the winter. Even though this winter started off slow, if somebody is looking in February or March, they're serious about buying. As opposed to July, when you do an open house in July or August, you just might get somebody who's running by and wants to see their neighbor's house. So,
is there anything that you do for buyers or sellers that's not done by other realtors?
This year I've done a few things that I would say are above and beyond the call of duty for a realtor. I've had some buyers who they are buying other houses and their house isn't sold yet, or something's tying up selling their house, like waiting for documentation or paperwork. And I have actually fronted people up to about $50,000 for their new house. So if you're listing your house with me and I know it's going to sell, and you're buying another house and you're in jeopardy of losing that, I have fronted people considerable amounts of money to buy their next house. Of course it's recorded and it's a personal loan, but I've always been paid back, and I'm happy to do it in certain situations. We've also helped people improve the property if they're in some type of financial hardship, whether it be getting some landscaping done for them or fixing some kitchen cabinets, whatever we have to do to make the deal work. Not every situation. It has to be a very unique situation where I feel there's just no other resources, and usually I can help them. Plus the availability. I don't think you can reach every realtor as frequently as you can reach me.
You happy in this business?
I absolutely love the business. I'm so thankful to have a career for 12 years that I still wake up and say, oh my God, I love this job. A lot of people come into real estate when they're 40 or 50 years old. I came into this profession at 21. I did not get burned out in another career. I did not, sell Tupperware, or I didn't work for the town or the state. I came in knowing at about 15 years old that I needed to do something with real estate. There was just something about it that I enjoyed. And 12 years later, one of the top brokers in the area. So, and I have my clients and future clients and past clients to thank for that, because both directly and indirectly, they have referred me to their friends and family.
What's your geographic area that you're licensed to sell in?
I cover within a 25-mile radius of Albany. We go from Albany to Wilton, down to Selkirk, out to Troy, Rensselaer County, Post and Kill. Troy and Rensselaer County has been very appreciative, or I've been very appreciative of Troy and Rensselaer County's support. We handle Schenectady, Niskayuna, Rotterdam, Princetown, so we go all over. Sometimes there may be a house that's outside my coverage area, and I would assign them to one of my prominent agents who could handle that. So.
What about price range? Do you have a range you like to work in?
No house too big or too small. I grew up in a raised ranch. I think they're great houses. So, you know, when somebody calls me to sell a $1.5 million house, believe it or not, I'm appreciative of it. I want to help them, but the raised ranch or colonial or split level, that's what this area is built around. So I love selling raised ranches and colonials and split levels, but anywhere from 100,000 up to 1.5 million. And I just sold a lake house in Saratoga Lake in Regatta View for 1.4 million. It was a very simple transaction. It sold within 3 weeks. So to me, real estate is real estate. Whether it's 100 or a million, I take it.
And I think that just about wraps it up for us today. We thank you very much for joining us. This has been the Capital Region Real Estate Today program. I've been speaking with Realtor Anthony Gucciardo. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. And I would like to thank the Capital Region for their continued support. I'm greatly appreciative of all you have helped us achieve. And we look forward for the next several years of helping you buy or sell real estate. Feel free to contact me today, and thank you again for watching.
All right. Thank you all very much, and have yourself a great day.